Well, we've had an announcement today. ELIJAH ADEBAYO, who we all know was a trialist during, I think, all of our pre-season, basically, has now become a permanent signing. And we'll talk all about it in this video. All right, so here is the announcement then. There was a video him turning from a trialist to a full, full-time player. Is that the right way to say it? He did a really good interview, I thought. I won't play the whole thing, but I definitely recommend checking out his interview. He just comes across as a good lad, and yeah, I quite like the interview. I imagine he's definitely very excited about the prospect of playing. He's had some troubling times, I'd imagine, in the last couple of years. He did his ACL, didn't he, playing for Luton, and then he struggled to properly get back to playing football since. He just can't string a good run of fit games together. Obviously, when you do your ACL, I think they use part of your hamstring to fix it, and then that weakens your hamstring in other parts of your body, and it's a really tough thing to come back from. It's a story I'm sure we're aware of from other players that have done, ligaments in their knees, right? So, yeah, I'm sure he's very happy about the deal. I'd say a couple of things. The first one, I immediately thought, well, that means surely Emil Rees is off then. And my thoughts on that, we've got, well, I would say the word on the street, I'm not privy to Bristol City wage information, of course I'm not, but word on the street was that Emil Rees was if not the highest paid player at the club, right? And he's our third choice striker at the moment. It's pretty safe to say, I would imagine, that Laurent Tolai and Don Ballard are ahead of Rees in the pecking order. And it doesn't really make sense to have one of, if not the highest paid player at the club, be your third choice striker. So, moving on Rees frees up the wage money for that. I'd imagine Adebayo is demanding a smaller wage than Emil Rees. And second of all, Rees I think he gets a bad rap, really. I think Rees is a perfectly serviceable championship striker, and he would command a fee, right? We would definitely be able to sell him for a reasonable fee. Gut feel, what? I mean, 2-3 million, something like that. 10 goal a season championship striker. That's what Emil Rees is. He gives you those numbers every season. I also think, and credit to Fevs for pointing this out, I think, on social media and podcasts and stuff, but I also think Emil Rees did a lot of unseen and unselfish work last season that kind of didn't get the credit it deserved. He obviously didn't, hit the heights in terms of goals. He was our top scorer, I think, in the league, wasn't he? Or maybe top. Well, anyway, he scored a decent amount of goals. I'm not actually sure if he was our top scorer in the end. Maybe, I guess, the hat trick against Watford in the Cup pushed him across the season to be our top scorer, because I think Twine got 11 in the league, didn't he? But yeah. This makes sense to me. And also a point on profile as well. I don't think Rees is like a hold-up player. He might be 6'3", but I don't think he's the same sort of profile. I'm not going to use the word archetype. The same sort of profile of player as Adebayo is. Adebayo to me feels like you've got a bag of golf clubs, is this analogy. He's a different club to pick out the bag, right? A proper big man up front who can really hold the ball up and cause problems in the air. So, yeah, I think there is certainly logic to this one. Now, we'll do a little bit of an overview of him as a player. I think he's 6'4". He's, born in 98, so that makes him 28 years old. What day was he born? Yeah, 28 years old. I would say, I saw him a few times in pre-season, as I'm sure a fair few of you probably watching this video did. We'll just have a look at his stats on FBref as well. I can't say that he blew me away in pre-season, right? I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. I don't think he was awful, but I also, I just wouldn't say he massively impressed during his performances in pre-season. Obviously, he was getting fit, new squad, all of that stuff. So there's definitely, mitigating circumstances, if you like. But these are the numbers that he's put up across his career. The highlight season for me, really, well, there's two. There's the 16-goal, 4-assist championship season in 21-22, and then the season when Ipswich got promoted to the Premier League. 27 matches played, 16 starts, and he scored 10 Premier League goals in the 23-24 season. Now, that is nothing to be sniffed at, right? I was just saying Rees could command a fee because he basically gets you 10 goals a season in the Championship. Well, ELIJAH ADEBAYO is someone who has scored 10 goals in a season in the Premier League. Now, that's probably the height of what he's achieved in his career, in terms of numbers so far. But that's not to be sniffed at. 10 Premier League goals is quite something. And that's the player we could whether he's the same after all his injuries, who knows? But that's the kind of player we could be signing. And again, I think the key thing for Adebayo for me is it's like golf clubs in the bag kind of analogy, right? He's just another option that you can throw at a different kind of opposition, right? He can hold the ball up and make things difficult for, I guess, more physical defenders. Tolai's done a good job of holding the ball up so far, I felt. He struggled, I'd say, against Millwall. Their two centre-backs are a joke, really. They're massive. You're not really going to be able to do much against them. Birmingham, I thought he did a really good job. Ballard is definitely not so much a hold-up striker. So I think the role of Adebayo, it makes sense to me. There is logic to this decision. And especially, I guess, if we use the money we could get for selling Emil Rees, excuse me, and spend it on another player. There's certainly some rumours going around on Twitter again about Reyes Cleary. I've no idea on that one, but there's certainly conversation about it happening again. If there's money involved in offloading Rees to get money in to get Cleary, or maybe a left back, I kind of feel like we're almost a bit light at left back as well. When Campring is out, I'd like our Deans to play on the right, to be honest with you. So maybe a left back. That's another maybe another gap in our squad. Who knows? But I think this one makes sense. There's a little overview of Adebayo for you. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, found it useful. Let me know in the comments what you make of the deal. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.